Hello.
Hi, Toni.
How are you?
I am good. How are you doing?
I'm great. Doing well.
Awesome. Let's see. There it is. Perfect. Toni, thank you so much for joining us today. For taking your time, so we can talk about something that is very, very special to you, and then you can inspire many others.
Oh, anytime.
For sure. Dr. Nikita Shah, pleasure to have you as well. Thank you for taking your time off your busy life that we cannot
Thank you for
imagine.
having me.
Of course, it's a pleasure. So to start, Toni, I think we can start from the beginning. Could you share with us a little bit of your story about how you first thought that you could possibly have breast cancer since the beginning?
Yeah, absolutely. So it actually all started back in 2019 when our nutritionist here at the Pride in for City, Ricky, she came in to speak to us about breast health and just shared her experience with it. I think that really sparked my my motivation to think more about my breast health. And I also was feeling some slight symptoms as well. So some breast tenderness and a small lump in my right breast. And I kind of just, with her information and how I was feeling, I thought, I don't think I had ever had a mammogram at that point. So I decided to go in and kind of be proactive about it and get checked.
Dr. Nikita Shah, many people think that getting screened, uh, you don't need to do it when you're young, correct? What do you suggest about a person to start getting screened at what age, especially at Tony's case?
So, for people who are considered normal risk, so you don't have a risk factor for early breast cancer, so no family history, other atypical previous biopsies, the recommendation still is starting screening mammograms at age 40 and then once a year after that. But for those that we consider higher risk, they may start early. But again, at any point, like Toni said, she felt something wasn't right and she acted upon it instead of saying, oh, I'm young, this could not happen to me. Because certainly the incidence of breast cancer increases with age, but there is a risk of developing breast cancer even in younger women, even in their 20s.
Toni, that is something that you always mention, that you have to listen to your body, right? You have to know your body. How important do you think that is for someone to actually pay attention to your body, because it could be telling you something, right?
Yeah, I think, most times at the end of the day, no one knows your body better than you do. And I think if you're really attuned to those slight changes, it could save your life. And I'm certainly very grateful to hear Ricky's message and to be aware of the changes in my body and, kind of had the understanding too um, that, it's I didn't want to wait and see like, oh, maybe because I do put off things, here and there, like, oh, I gotta do that later. But I think in terms of health, not with just breast cancer, with anything in your health, I think being proactive is the best way to be.
Now, Toni, after the presentation from Ricky, and then you felt some changes in your body,
Mhm.
what were the next steps? So what did you have to do?
So I spoke with our athletic trainer, and he set me up with I believe I went into our gynecologist. She examined me, and then based on her recommendations, I went and got a mammogram.
Mm-hmm.
And then after those results, I then needed a biopsy and an MRI. And then that all concluded that I did have, I think technically at that point I was considered non-invasive. And then it wasn't until I think, while the surgery was happening that they did find a little bit of invasive breast cancer. Um, so yeah, that was all the steps. My gynecologist, then a mammogram, a biopsy, an MRI, and then the the surgery of the double mastectomy. And then I got I waited a little bit to do the actual reconstruction.
Mhm.
I think after my mastectomy, I did it like a couple months later because I had the time to wait. So.
For sure. And how did your path crossed with Dr. Nikita Shah?
So Dr. Nikita Shah is actually my oncologist. She's helped me through this entire journey and process, and she's been very, very helpful and just, relaying all of her knowledge with me and making me feel safe and comfortable. And yeah, I couldn't ask for a better doctor.
There it is. Dr. Nikita Shah, can you talk to us a little bit about when you first heard about Toni's case, and what were the steps in your side to help Toni?
So, when you see anybody with breast cancer, it's a big deal. It's a big diagnosis for the patient, but especially when you see younger patients with breast cancer, it's even harder because typically you don't expect somebody in their 20s to get breast cancer. So there are different implications at different age groups. So when Toni and I first met, of course, we talked about the diagnosis, what it means, how this would impact what she does, now what she does in the future, how this may impact her career, short term and long term. And all those things have to get factored into any of these decision makings. And then we talked about, we have to wait for surgery to kind of make all the final decisions. And then we met again after surgery to talk about what the next steps are.
Correct. Dr. Nikita Shah, we have a couple questions that the fans actually submitted. And so I'm going to start with one that it is, how often should we get checked?
So mammograms are recommended and starting at age 40 and annually after that, so once a year. And there's really not an upper limit on when a woman should stop doing their mammograms, as long as she's in good health and can act upon something that may be found. Now, the mammogram recommendations are very controversial. They continue to change, but American College of Radiology recommends still starting at age 40 and then once a year after that. Breast exam, either by a person or by the healthcare provider, again, has become very controversial. But I still tell patients, and I think this is important, and like what Toni said, you know your body the best. If something doesn't feel right, have it looked at. You could have had a normal mammogram a month ago, but if you feel something, don't ignore it. The chances that it's not anything bad is very high, but it still could be something, because mammograms are only so good. They only pick up about 80 to 85% of breast cancers. So if something doesn't feel right, and this is true of anything else, not just, again, like Toni said, not just breast cancer. You know your body, something doesn't feel right, don't ignore it. What we've also seen is with the pandemic, people have put off screenings, and unfortunately that is going to correlate to thousands and thousands of unnecessary deaths because of delays in diagnosis and treatment. So please don't delay your screenings. Keep up with your screenings. Everything is open now. There are safe places you can go and get your screenings. So knowing your body and keeping up with your screenings is critically important for a condition where, if caught early, the cure rate is over 95%.
And like Toni mentioned, this can happen to anybody. It's not just women. It also happens to men as well. It is the same thing for males, so they can also go, the first step for them is also to go and get checked first. Does anything change?
So typically men present with a lump, generally under the nipple, or maybe with nipple discharge. So 1% of all breast cancers occur in men. So it's not that uncommon. There are some nuances of breast cancer in men. More often, they are associated with a BRCA2 mutation. Almost universally, they are hormonally driven, but the process is the same. So men, if they feel something, then would go to the doctor, have a mammogram, have a biopsy. If there is enough breast tissue, they would even have an MRI and then have surgery. Of course, men don't have enough breast tissue, so they can't have a lumpectomy, meaning removing just that part of the breast. They would have to have the whole breast removed. Still check their lymph nodes, but like we would do for women. And they may still need everything else the way we treat women with breast cancers. It could be a combination of chemotherapy, radiation therapy, hormone blocking treatment.
Doctor Toni, when you were going through the process now, and did you reach out to someone that inspired you? Because now you are inspiration for many others, right? Now we have players, we have anyone, not just athletes, but you are inspiration for everyone to see what you did, and now you are playing again. representing so many powerful women. Did you reach out to anyone? Did you have someone that you could look up for during that period?
I think I reached out to Ricky Keene a lot. Just her being able to share her experience and have that common bond with her was extremely helpful. So any questions that I had, she was able to help and guide me and, you know, make me feel comfortable and kind of educate me before, you know, the whole process started with like being introduced to my physicians and oncologists. So I think she was, you know, vitally important in my early stages and still in this whole breast cancer journey.
What are some things, Toni, that if we have someone in our family that is dealing with breast cancer, a friend or anyone related to us that we care about, what are some things, that was one of the questions that actually got asked, that we can do, right, in order to support them?
I think the easiest thing would just to let them know that you're there for them, that you're the shoulder, you know, if they need it, that you're a support system for them. I think that goes a long way. And yeah, I think, you know, we all need that support. And as long as you know, they know that you're there for them, you know, that's a lot.
Sure. Dr. Nikita Shah, you mentioned that all of the screenings, they're open, right? They're back open because of COVID. People were kind of hesitated about not going in, which is understandable, but now they're back open. They can still go in and get screened. What is the easiest way that they can go in and get screened? Do they have to go online and make an appointment? How's the process work for them?
Various ways to do it. They can go online. They can have their primary care there, refer them for a screening mammogram. They can call any of the mammography places for a screening mammogram. So multiple routes, but places are open, and please use this opportunity. If you haven't had your mammogram this year, use this October as a reminder to get screened.
For sure. And the same question that we asked to Toni, Dr. Nikita, what are some of the advices that you can give to the people that are starting the process, the journey now? That can be tough for everyone, but Toni, right here, she's an example that it can happen. It is possible to go through it.
Absolutely. And, you know, when you're going through it, of course, it's the hardest thing ever, but, you know, reach out to your friends and family for help. Like you were asking Toni, people want to help and sometimes they may not know how to help. Mm-hmm. So reach out to people if you need help. And I always tell patients, you know, use this time to take this time for yourself. If you have the flexibility of maybe backing off on your working hours, maybe taking some time off. If somebody wants to come and make a meal for you, let them do it. That's okay, because use this time to heal yourself and, you know, surround yourself with love and support, because that goes such a long way.
For sure. Toni, what were some of the things that kind of kept you grounded during that period?
I think just post-recovery, I would say, not being able to do many like daily activities. I think that was kind of humbling. You know, even simple things like, I don't know, like jogging or reaching for things in the kitchen. And I know I would always get in trouble because I would try and do it anyway. But yeah, I just think, I don't know, like at that time, obviously my body had gone through like a major like surgery and trauma, and just kind of, you know, remembering that like I'm not superwoman, like I need to let my body heal and rest and take time for that, because that's vitally and extremely important.
I think that you are superwoman. I think we're all agreed that now. But Toni, did you always know that did you think they're not gonna be able to play again, or did you know sorry, you're back on the pitch?
I think there was like one moment where it kind of hit me really hard. I think it was like the day So the day after I found out, we had a game against Washington at home. And at that point, only Marta and our trainer knew, um, and my gynecologist, that, I did have cancer. So after the game, I was quite emotional. I just remember sitting there on the field and kind of tearing up, and because at that point, I didn't know any information at all. I just knew that I had cancer, and I didn't know what the journey would be like. I didn't know if I would need chemo or radiation. I didn't know really what stage it was. So yeah, I think that was kind of the hardest in that regard. And I think after that, just learning more about my diagnosis specifically and having support and help around me, I kind of just tried to focus on getting better and put all my energy into that.
Thank you, Toni, for sharing. Dr. Nikita Shah, any advices, or if you could tell us, all the people that are watching us now, right? The most important things that they should know, that they should be aware about breast cancer, maybe can be a misconception or anything that you want to put the message out there.
Probably the one thing that I hear over and over again is, why did this happen to me? Because I don't have a family history. So only about 8% or so of breast cancer is genetic, meaning over 90% of the times there is no family history. So that's why, again, women need to be aware about their bodies, keep up with their screenings, because you don't have to have a family history to have breast cancer. There are certain subtypes of breast cancer that are more common and can be seen in families, but the large majority are not hereditary, and that's why, family history may not be a big factor. Again, screening mammograms, if you feel something, don't ignore it. Seek attention if something doesn't feel right, because you know your body the best, and keep pursuing it, because again, like I mentioned, places are open. You can get your screening mammogram, diagnostic mammogram, biopsy, whatever may be needed. And once, if you're undergoing treatment, don't be hard on yourself. Give your body that time. Give yourself that little bit of leeway to say, I'm under treatment. It's okay to be tired. It's okay to be fatigued. It's okay to take a day off and use it for myself to recover. Because as Toni said, you try and keep up with stuff, but there are days when sometimes things can be overwhelming. And that's why there are, we have support services that are available for our patients. If you ever need somebody to talk to, we have counselors. Reach out to your friends and family.
Perfect. And Toni, if there was one message that you also want to put it out there for everyone watching this, what would you want to say?
I think the number one for me would just be to be proactive. So get to know your body. You can do self-checks at home, get to know what that feels like for you. And if you're ever unsure, it doesn't hurt to go get checked anyway. I think the more proactive and the earlier that we, everyone can do things, the better off we'll be, and safer, and yeah, be proactive.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Toni. Thank you, Dr. Nikita Shah. Toni, thank you for joining us. And like we said in the beginning, thank you for using your platform for raising awareness for something that is so important to you, special to you, and is special to us as well here. Dr. Nikita Shah in Orlando Health, we appreciate you, your time, sharing all of your insights. And thank you so much for everyone that joined us today for Lunch and Learn. Orlando Health and our partner City Furniture also are together during the month of October, and we have a lot of initiatives in order to raise breast cancer awareness. Have a good Friday, Toni. Have a great Friday, Dr. Nikita Shah. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.